Hello and welcome to Watch Releases Recap for the week of November 17th until November the 27th. Let's begin with G-Shock and their new Polychromatic Collection. G-Shock is turning 40 this year and they had quite a few different releases, different collaborations as well as limited editions. This time they took advantage of something that's been happening for a while, people modifying their G-Shocks. It's very popular to put your G-Shock in a metal case. In fact, I myself put my GA2100 in a metal case with a rubber strap. I even have a video all about that mod. Besides the metal cases, it's also very popular to modify these watches with different colors. G-Shock has caught on to the fact and now they're offering some additions in metal cases with funky colors. So there's 4 watches in total. 2 of them are of the Casio Oak, the 2100 series, and they're exactly the same diameter, 44 millimeters by about 12.8 millimeters in thickness, but this time they come in metal cases. There is this sort of darker gunmetal case, and then the other one, the more silver stainless steel look. Both of them come in brushed cases and both of them look really cool. The stainless steel one comes with sort of a rainbow-like color on the dial for the indexes and for the set of hands. And the gunmetal one, the darker one, has sort of orange accents for the indexes and a more straightforward hands. I think both look really good. They also come with a premium price. The black version costs 629 euros and the stainless steel looking one costs 579 euros. So quite a bit of money. Besides the Casio Oak models, Casio has also released a couple of Series 5000. Now these ones are your standard square face G-Shocks, legendary watches, and just like with the Casio Oak, they're available in 2 different finishes. There is the black one and the stainless steel looking one, and they also feature slightly different color variations and the same functionality of a standard G-Shock. They also come in pretty much the same case size, 43.5 millimeters diameter by about 13 millimeters in thickness. They still have 200 meters of water resistance. They don't sacrifice any functionality. They are a little bit heavier, of course, than your resin or the plastic G-Shocks, but for the most part, you still get the G-Shock experience in a more fancy metal case. So these ones are also more expensive than your standard edition. Of course, the black one is 630 euros and the stainless steel looking one is 579 euros. The new Seiko Prospex Speedtimer chronographs. Seiko, of course, has a long history of chronograph watches. Their 1970s chronographs are legendary. I really love those watches. Well, these new chronographs have inspiration from the 1972 version of the Speedtimer with a few modern twists. We have 2 different versions available. There is the Panda and the Reverse Panda, so to say. So the Reverse Panda is a limited edition to 1,000 pieces. The wide dial standard Panda is not a limited release. It's going to be a part of Seiko's catalog. So here's the thing. Seiko actually already had a Speedtimer version of this watch before, and I actually did a review of one and I really hated that watch. I had a few problems with it and I think this new release kind of fixes some of these problems. So the first problem I had with it was the look of the watch. I really hated how that watch looked. I didn't like the bicompax design. This one having the tricompax I think looks better, having the 3 subdials. So the look of this one, to me at least, is 1,000 times better. The second thing that they actually really improved with this watch was the thickness. So the previous one, the one that I reviewed, was about 15.2 millimeters. This one is 14.6, so half a millimeters thinner. I mean, it's not slim. 14.5 millimeters is still up there, but for an automatic chronograph, it is sort of okay. Last problem that I had with the watch was the price. It's around 3,000 US dollars, which is quite a bit, but I actually was a bit wrong on the price because I looked more into the movement powering this watch and the movement is fantastic. So these ones are powered by the Caliber 8R48 automatic movement. What makes these movements special is the fact that they're vertical clutch column wheel chronograph movements. To find a vertical clutch column wheel automatic chronograph movement for under $3,000 is sort of unheard of. These movements are usually $10,000 plus. So Seiko offering this watch with this movement at this price, I think is somewhat reasonable. I know that people will still say it's a little bit too expensive. These 2 new versions are priced at 2,700 euros for the non-limited release one and 2,900 euros for the limited release one. But if you look at the specs that you get, and the movement especially, I think the price is somewhat reasonable. The problem that I think Seiko is going to run in with this watch is that it's part of their Prospec series, and the Prospec series just varies so much in price. You have watches for like $500, $600, and then you have watches like this for $3,000 plus. So I think Seiko, as much as I hate to say it, needs to come up with another sort of in-between tier. You have Seiko, you have King Seiko, and then you have Grand Seiko. So having this watch be part of their King Seiko lineup might have made more sense. But then, of course, historically speaking, Speedtimer is part of Seiko, so they couldn't really do that. So I guess my point is that they need another sort of in-between model line between Prospex and the King Seiko, something a little bit more expensive, something to differentiate this watch from the rest of the lineup. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about these watches. Just like with the watch before, please leave comments in the comment section below. I'm actually really curious to hear what you think about this one. Moving on to the next release, the new Citizen Challenge Diver Collection. Seiko's, just like we talked about before, is sort of moving up in the higher price categories. They're trying to capitalize on watches becoming more expensive. Well, I'm happy to say that their brothers from Japan, from Citizen, are moving into the opposite direction. They're actually creating new lines of watches that are more affordable. Before this new collection, the Challenge Diver Collection, we had ProMaster Collection, and this line had so many different models in different price ranges. But relatively speaking, they were still fairly affordable watches. Well, now there is a new collection. It is sort of similar to ProMaster Collection, but it is even more affordable and it has a slightly different look. So in total, we have 4 different dial variations released. The 3 out of the 4 come with the raisin straps. The blue one comes on a stainless steel bracelet. I don't know why Citizen chose to do it this way. Why not offer all models on different bracelets? It's not like they have different case sizes or different lug width. It's just a weird thing that Citizen decided. But besides this weird decision, I think everything else about this watch is great. I like the design. Not a huge fan of the Mercedes hour hand, but I think it's okay. I like the day-date complication, and in fact on this dial it looks balanced enough. This diver comes with 200 meters of water resistance, and it is ISO certified. It has a diver style bezel, and it's powered by the Miyota 8 series movement. It's not the best movement in the world, but it is solid enough. The best part about these watches is, of course, pricing. So as I alluded to earlier, these are quite a bit more affordable than everything else that we see introduced to the market. 269 euros for the ones on the rubber strap and 299 euros for the ones on the metal bracelet. I think that's very fair. And actually the price difference between the strap and the bracelet being only $30 is just sort of unheard of. So well done, Citizen, with this release. The Vulcan Monopusher 39. Vulcan is one of these brands that is flying under the radar. Unless you're a hardcore watch enthusiast, you probably have never heard of this brand, even though it has a very rich history. This new release with 3 different dial combinations are harkening back to 1950s Monopusher chronographs. I'm actually myself a huge fan of Monopusher chronographs. I really want to add one in my collection. So the difference between a 2-pusher chronograph and a monopusher chronograph is the fact that this one only has 1 pusher. So the same pusher starts, stops, and resets the chronograph, as opposed to your standard chronograph that has the pusher that starts and stops chronograph, and then usually the pusher at the 4 o'clock position, that's the pusher to reset the chronograph. So these ones have a slightly different mechanism. The look of these watches is very sharp, very vintage inspired, but they do have modern case sizes. 39 millimeters in diameter, 13 millimeters in thickness. These are powered by a manual wind Sellita caliber SW510, which is a movement with 28,000 vibrations per hour and 58 hours of power reserve. Out of the 3 dial variations, 2 are limited release. One of them actually already sold out. So the pink or the salmon dial, that's gone. The other dial that's limited release is the black one with sort of the rust font. That one is still available, but I think it's going to be sold out within the next few days. And the pricing is somewhat fair. 2,950 euros, I think, is a pretty fair price for what you get with this brand and for the watch quality. I'm excited that companies like this exist and still release watches. This one is a winner in my book. Let's actually talk about another cool chronograph. This one comes from Union Glashütte and is their new Speedster limited edition. Union Glashütte is another one of these underground enthusiast only type brands. They have a very rich history, and now since I think 2000 they've been a part of the Swatch Group, so they have the backing of the Swatch Group behind them. This new limited edition chronograph is a very beautiful watch. According to them, it's vintage race car inspired. They didn't say particularly which vintage race car specifically, but it's just the color of a lot of vintage race cars. And I can kind of see that the dial color and the dial look is the selling feature of this watch. It just looks so damn beautiful. It comes in a 44mm case, so it is quite a bit larger than the previous watch that we talked about. You have to have a bit of a larger wrist to pull it off, especially with the thickness of 15.1mm. So this one, yeah, it's a bit on the bigger side. That's actually my biggest issue with this watch. It is a limited edition to 388 pieces, and it's priced at 3,350 euros. It's one of these watches that's not for everyone, especially because of the size and the relative niche nature of the brand, but I'm just really glad that watches like this exist, and I want to highlight more of these type of releases in future videos. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss more videos like this in the future, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what watches stood out to you from this week's releases. I always enjoy reading them. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you next time.